Hey gang, welcome to the Inside WAG Nutrition Podcast. On this week's episode, we have Maria Higgins. She is a WAG coach, and she is the last coach interview that we have in our coaches interview series. So we're going to get to know Maria a little bit better, and if you are one of her clients, maybe you'll get some insights and some info that maybe you didn't know. And if you are looking to sign up to work with Working Against Gravity, maybe Maria has exactly the kind of personality and the knowledge that you need, and you can do that. You can sign up at workingagainstgravity.com/join. And if you use the code INSIDEWAG at checkout, you'll get $50 off your first month of coaching. So, without further ado, let's talk to Maria Higgins.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good.
Very well.
Doing well. Chris, let's kick it off, man.
All right. Well, Maria, we want to get started. So first thing we want to know about our coaches is where do you live and who do you share your space and your life with?
Yeah, I am in Portland, Oregon. I've been here about 10, 11 years. I live with my husband and I have two daughters, 4 years and 1 year old. So they keep me plenty busy here in the Pacific Northwest. I've actually lived here basically my whole life. So yeah.
Right on. Born and raised in the Portland area?
I grew up in Idaho. And
wow.
So I've lived in the Pacific Northwest though, basically my whole life. I grew up in a small town in northern Idaho, kind of on the border of Idaho and Washington. Then I went to school, University of Idaho, and then I moved here after undergrad.
Cool.
Wow, that's awesome. And your daughters' names are Harper and Hazel, yes?
Yeah.
Which I love.
Harper and Hazel.
Those are great names. They're so cool.
We didn't intend to be like matchy with it, Harper, Hazel, and our last name too, but it's just close. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Are those like family names or just kind of names?
They're middle names. Yeah, their middle names are family names, but yeah, not their
That's the way to do it. Yeah,
for sure. Hey, when we found out that we were going to have a girl for our second, Hazel was like our top five. We were like trying to figure it out, and we eventually went with Lucy, just because Lucy was. I mean, we liked the name, but it was we had that for a girl's name when Milo was born, so it was always like kind of like ruminating in our heads. Did you have that kind of with your two girls? Was it always going to be like Harper and Hazel, or was it like totally new experience like every time, or like each time?
Yeah, it was kind of new. I guess we had Harper kind of picked out if we knew it was a girl, and then we didn't really know for Hazel. But it's funny, her name is Hazel May. May is her middle name, and both of those names are like now on like the top list of like grandma names coming back in style or something.
Oh.
I'm like, I named her two double grandma names, so she's got a lot to live up to, I guess.
Grandma names.
Hazel, I could see, yeah, for sure, but like it's not as grandma-y as like Esther. Like that's a foregone kind of name, so it's a unique name too. When you hear like Esther, yeah.
Oh, Esther, yeah.
Hazel is a pretty name. That's very good. So living out there, Pacific Northwest, I should say. What was your kind of like intro into health and fitness, or maybe sports? Did you play sports in school, in college, like all that stuff? Like, how did you get into this, into the health and wellness space?
Yeah. I grew up playing sports. I did gymnastics basically my whole life, dance. I did do like softball and basketball, but never super seriously. I was pretty into gymnastics my whole life. And then I just grew up in like a really sports family. My dad coached college baseball my whole life. He was athletic director. So my brother played. I was just in a pretty like sports family. And then it was kind of like mid-college, where like nutrition, I'm like in the middle of my undergrad. And nutrition was like one of the things that was just becoming increasingly important to me. And so after graduation is when I went back for my master's in nutrition. But I also grew up, like, my mom was the mom who made bread. She made every single meal from scratch. So I kind of grew up in that, like, I guess, like, just that lifestyle of my mom cooked literally everything. And so it was just something that I knew growing up. I always knew how to cook. I knew how to bake.
Cool.
So it was always important to me. And then I think, like, when you're an adult and you're finally doing things on your own and you don't have your mom cooking or people helping you with groceries, then you kind of like figure it out for yourself of like the importance of it. Right. So,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, I guess it was kind of always an interest. It was something I grew up kind of around, but it wasn't until I was like out on my own that I was like, wow, this is so important. And especially increasingly important as you age in life. So it was like I guess early 20s where I decided like, I want to do this for a career. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Cool. And so what jobs so were you doing nutrition coaching prior to working with WAG, or how did that go?
I wasn't so my undergrad is in public relations. So I
Okay.
graduated. I worked for like a couple years. Just kind of decided at that point that I wanted to go back to school. So when I was getting my master's degree in nutrition, that's when I like kind of found WAG personally. I've done CrossFit for over 10 years, so I kind of knew about WAG forever. And so
Yeah.
I think actually my first year of grad school, I became a client at WAG and I decided to dive in. And it was so interesting to like, I'm in school for it, but then this program was it was new. I knew a lot of like the basics, of course, but the approach to it was so cool to me that that's kind of when I was like, I would love to coach. I was in school for nutrition. I knew I wanted to do something in that realm,
Sure.
but it wasn't until like I was a client where I was like, this is really cool being able to help people in such a huge way. And the way that we do it through macros was really, I thought, just eye-opening to me, the lifestyle, the flexibility, all of that. So that's kind of how I got interested in the coaching journey as I was a client myself.
Oh, wow. That's cool that provided the direction in which you knew where you were going to commit your time and effort and how you were going to get into that space. Yeah, the same thing. Like I never knew that coaching was an option until I was in it. I was like, wait, you get to do this, to my coach. And that's when it was like this like light bulb went off like, oh, this is now an option. And and it's cool knowing that, yeah, you got to be a WAG client to become a WAG coach. And so when you just already got your foot in the door to that possibility, it's cool. And then to have that sense of direction.
Right.
So it's my understanding that through your schooling that you got your master's of science in nutrition and functional medicine.
Yeah.
Right? Can you kind of explain to our audience like a little bit of like what that means and what that what those accreditations mean and what they bring to your coaching ability?
Yeah. Good question. So there's a lot of different types of nutrition, I guess, grad programs. I really liked the one that I chose because of the functional medicine side of it. The functional medicine, just like being, I guess, like treating like the root cause, looking for the root cause in underlying illness, which I feel like is, I guess, more popular, a little bit more mainstream now, even than when I went to school 6-7 years ago. But yeah, so functional medicine. So I guess as a coach, I kind of look at the whole picture and I'm like, like, yes, like disease, but also like wellness, right? Kind of like two sides of it. And as we know as coaches, like it's not just the macros, right? We're a macro-based program,
right?
But there's so much more into it. So I guess I have a very holistic view of nutrition because of the functional medicine side of it too. I like to look at the whole, like kind of like, what's your past? Like, how did you grow up, right? It all really relates to your gut health, your digestion, like where you are today with food. It's all related to how you grew up and all those things that really matter in the big picture.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that that holistic approach, and it's not in that woo-woo-y sense, kind of holistic that most people kind of like orient to that word, but holistic is meaning the whole of it all, the bigger picture. And really what it is, it's all the stuff that like a doctor just doesn't have the time to get down to with you in their average 8-minute visit with you, right?
Totally.
When they're just like, sounds like you need medication, and then boom, rather than,
Totally.
well, wait, why? How did we get here? And then
Yeah.
going back to those things, I think that's super crucial and very
Yeah.
critical to you being able to be the best coach that you possibly can be, because then you're actually truly getting to know your client and a lot of the hows and the whys about them,
Yeah.
which is priceless.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
true.
That's
Those
awesome.
those doctor visits are like crazy short. I think, yeah, that's one of the reasons too. I knew I didn't want to go like medical field, but I think like having that sort of Western and Eastern medicine, like kind of like balance, like you said, holistic. My dad does say it's woo wooey, but it's very, it
Indian
is
has
it's
its place. Yeah.
yeah,
Depending on
the
who's saying
whole
it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
it's the whole body, the whole person, right? Which
Yeah.
is, all of those things, as we know, like when clients come to us and they tell us like, sorry, I'm, telling you my whole life story. I'm like, great. I need to know your life story in order to
Yeah.
help you the best I can. So
Yeah, absolutely.
What with that, I mean, that's a pretty like solid and background and a unique skill set. What is how do I phrase this? How do you find that infiltrating your day-to-day coaching? How do you find that kind of like trickles in when you're talking to your clients?
yeah, I would say the biggest way I see it is through like digestion and food quality.
Mm.
Again, like macro based, but there's so much
Sure.
more. So a lot of times when, a client feels like maybe they're stuck, or these macros I was like crushing it, my goals were like awesome, and now I feel like I'm like in a weird place, then I'm like, hey, let's dive into like what you're eating a little bit more, like how we can fill that plate with more nutrient dense food, how we can pay more attention to fiber and timing and just all of that, so we're giving our body the most optimal digestion and everything, because all of those pieces are where we get that progress. And
Right.
someone might have great progress for a while with certain macros, and when we shift and focus on the whole picture, there's lots more progress to make. So it's not always about changing macros or that magic number. It's about that, that whole picture of what they're doing with food and how they can improve that.
Yeah. Do you find that that's a topic that you're talking about weekly, multiple times a week, like you're focusing on digestion and absorption and things like that?
I do, yeah. I feel like, again, for a lot of people, I mean, some people come in with experience and already know what a protein, what a fat, what a carb is,
Mm-hmm.
but that's where like I feel like I can really dive in even further with digestion and absorption of nutrients and how that plays a role in energy and being more efficient in workouts and all of that.
Yeah. And that's your area of expertise. So it's like it's a unique thing that someone will get from you, like they're not going to get the same emphasis on that as they, with like me or Chris, for example, as they will with you, just because your education and background. So that's really cool. That's a unique thing that you bring to, your coaching, and the wagosphere, the wag ecosystem.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I just came up with that.
Yeah, I like the infiltrated in your question.
Yeah,
I was wagosphere, like
trying to think. I'm like, man,
crushing
it. Infiltrate. That sounds so like aggressive. But
it works. It works.
Yeah. You got it. You nailed it. That's what we were looking for. So it worked out.
Yeah. One thing I'm curious about, Maria, and I'm sure like, our listeners and the people who work with you too, is like what's your preferred, like where you are in life today, being a mother, being a nutrition coach, like what is your jam when it comes to your preference for fitness and health? Like what do you do to bring joy and, functional health to your world? What do you do?
Yeah, good question. I also get to work with a lot of moms myself. So I know that like finding that right in the busy season of life, but life for everybody, but also like being a mom of young ones, I think I always say that like fitness, you have to want to do it. It has to be fun. So for me, like that little break in my day is like I get to work really hard, but it's also just like really satisfying in so many ways to be able to like focus on something for me, something that I enjoy, something that brings me health. For fitness right now, I still do CrossFit most of the time. I find, well, one, showing up and having someone tell me what to do is always a good idea.
Right.
Something I don't have to think about. Also, I've always, I guess I have that little bit of competitiveness in me. So CrossFit's always remained like pretty constant in my life. So even through pregnancy, I've always been able to do most things with modifications. So it's something I've always loved to return to also postpartum and just my day-to-day life. So definitely CrossFit for me.
Cool. How did you get introduced to CrossFit, or how did you find it?
Yeah. So I guess after undergrad, after college, I was looking for just like, I was going to like a Gold's Gym,
Nice.
and doing like, some spin classes, some of like everything. I was never sore. I was never like, I couldn't find something that like, not that you have to be sore, but I couldn't find something that was like really challenging me. And so back in the day, this was probably like maybe 2010, the Gold's Gym that I went to had a CrossFit affiliate in it.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't know if this was a thing for a while, like when CrossFit was relatively new, but there was an affiliate. And so some of the coaches were like, come try it out. And I was like, you guys are crazy. I walked through to go to my classes and I was like, no. And then so I went in for a class, and my first class was the Filthy 50 workout.
Oof.
And yeah. So I was like, what is this? And then I couldn't lift my arms the next day, and I was hooked.
There you go.
You're like, oh, that's the stimulus I was looking for. Yeah.
Exactly. So then, but that was when I lived in Idaho. And so then I moved to Portland, found a gym. Actually, my husband owned the gym that I found. So met my husband at CrossFit. So,
wow. Thank you, CrossFit.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So then I've been, doing CrossFit ever since awesome. 2010.
Dang, what a cool story. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it that, you're so adamant, or when you were going through pregnancy and, having the kids and everything, like you stayed with it. And as a gym owner, I see that, we've had multiple, women come through the gym, and obviously Jess as well, train all the way through pregnancy. And then, after giving birth and everything, obviously there's a break there. But I just love how CrossFit you have the ability to modify and adjust your workouts and still get a good stimulus, and you're still with your people, and you still get to, you're still in it, where I feel like other forms of exercise or just going to a regular gym, it's it would be so easy to put your headphones on and just kind of like you were talking about back in Idaho, just kind of going through the motions, and you're like, okay, I guess I'll go, I've been here for an hour, I guess I'll leave, and there's no like feedback. Your body's not giving you anything, and you're certainly not getting any feedback from anyone else at the gym, at those kinds of gyms, at least. So I love that. And I think it's such a powerful statement, that you can make with CrossFit and being healthy, and again, going through pregnancy and working with pregnant clients and sharing your experience with them is probably super valuable as well.
Right. Yeah. I think, depending on where you started, before pregnancy, if that's the path you're going down, I think being able to do something that you enjoy while your body is changing so much, right? Like there are really so many modifications, and you can make most workouts work in some way or form.
Yeah,
so it's encouraging as you're like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, you might have aches and pains, but you can still go through something familiar and move your body in a way that feels good. So that's all. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I love that. What is one of your proudest accomplishments as a WAG coach?
Oh, I would say, since we're on the topic of it too, anytime I get to work with a mom who's postpartum, whether that's brand new. Sometimes we have people coming in, they're brand new postpartum, like, where do I start? Or maybe 6 months down the road, like, okay, I really want to focus on something for myself. I think that's my proudest work, because I don't know, you go through so many changes, and being able to like find yourself, not even necessarily like your body, like, getting your body back, but just like being able to do something for yourself again, because so much energy has gone into growing a human and birthing a human and all of that.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, where do I land now? And so I've loved that part of working with my clients, because it's like they're not only they learn so much about themselves, and throughout the process, just to like how the way they feel and how the way they can be a good mom, and just their whole life is just really impacted by nutrition and wellness. And sometimes I don't even know, they come in saying, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to lose the baby weight, and then what they gain through the journey is pretty incredible to watch. So that they're definitely my proudest work, my favorite clients in that regard.
I love that.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Kind of in a similar vein, maybe it's not one piece of advice per se, maybe it's one kind of methodology or perspective gain that you provide clients, but like, what's one piece of advice that you love to give your clients, or do you feel is fairly effective in your coaching approach?
Yeah, I like to tell my clients that every day is a new, fresh, like clean slate. I think that in a lot of things in life, like, it can feel like, oh, next week or next month or down the road. But like nutrition, you wake up every single day and you have the ability to hit your macros, eat nutrient dense food, get your water intake. Like, you've really got a fresh start every day. You don't need to wait till Monday. It's like you can tackle those goals. And I think, we check in once a week with clients or more. And so it's like that ability to make those changes that often is essential. So I think reminding them that it really is consistency and just showing up every day, waking up, deciding like, I want to put in the work, and I know how to do that. Even if yesterday was crap, I've got today. So
cool.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's great advice. Yeah.
And do you find yourself like helping clients set goals for like the what I would call like stepping stone goals? Like, you have the big goal, right? And then each day it's like you just need to be able to sign off on each day knowing that you did the best that you could. Do you find yourself like really helping them determine what those specifics are, like every time they check in?
yeah, that's a good point. And a lot of times of course it might be food related, but it might not be. Like, a lot of times those stepping stone goals, right, are just like have your breakfast prep tomorrow. So when you wake up, eat that breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's like a check for the day, right? You're starting on the right foot. You're starting with some protein.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to set yourself up for a lot more success if that's how we start the day. So yeah, like stepping stones as in like, hey, let's just pay attention to the first meal of the day. Like, let's get that done.
100%. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Can definitely relate to that for sure.
Right.
So we're kind of getting towards the end here, wrapping up. But we like to end with like some fun stuff. Can you tell us one thing about you that other people may not know?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like, are you big time into Taylor Swift and like no one knows about it?
Yeah.
Okay, actually.
Yes, here we go.
Nailed it.
Actually, it is about Taylor Swift because you said that, but it's wilder. So I didn't go to I didn't go to anything this year, but I saw Taylor Swift for $20 at my college, the University of Idaho, in the student union building with like 500 people, because it was before she had like signed big, and she had like signed these, college tour things forever ago. And she was like literally just like standing in the student union building. Like, it was just
playing her guitar, just singing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Before the big production,
that's
the costume
amazing.
changes, everything.
And my bunch of my friends went to dinner with her before. Like,
wow.
Literally, she was just chilling at our campus for like the weekend. So
I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah. had to be Taylor Swift related because you said that. So
Yeah.
Well,
Nicole's going to love that.
I was going to say Nicole. Yeah. Nicole's episode, it was like, we didn't start recording in time to get like some of those like really, really fun stories, but she's like such a Taylor Swift fan that she was talking about going to see the shows and things like that. And I don't know why I just brought up Taylor Swift, but I must have. I saw something like, I don't know, maybe it was one of her like records being released or something like that. Like again, because she's redoing like all the records, you know. So maybe it had something to do with that. But,
she's like everywhere in the news right now. So
it's true. Yeah.
I heard she's reviving football now or something, right?
Yeah, bringing a whole new viewer to football games.
Football. Yeah.
Totally.
Josh's world may surround around like very like obscure type of hard music, but every day he starts his day with the thought of Taylor Swift. So
that's right.
Is Jess a Taylor Swift fan?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I mean, there was a time where I listened to Taylor Swift, and I actually like her new album. I listened to like when I did like a bike, an air assault bike, Imam to like her new album because everyone's talking about it, and no matter what kind of music it is, if everyone's talking about it, I'm like a nerd like that. I want to know. Yeah. So I did listen to it, and it's not necessarily my exact cup of tea, but I can appreciate it. For what it's for. So we told you before the podcast started, Spirit Possession, based out of Oregon. You can listen to that, and me and Chris, we're going to go listen to Taylor Swift now. So it's
everyone's running to Google that now.
This is the give and the take, right?
Yeah.
That's fun. That's a really cool memory though. Like that's something that I would definitely hang on to.
I'm like, I didn't pay $1,000. I paid $20.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
That was the calm before this Taylor Swift storm, essentially, back in the
right.
That'd be like seeing like Jewel back in the day with just her and her guitar or something like that before she became like worldwide phenomenon. That's awesome.
So true.
All right. Well, one of the last things we like to ask our coaches, Maria, is again another fun one. And maybe you've got something in mind. But what's an experience in recent memory or history that's been really fun or profound for you?
Fun or profound?
Yeah, it could be
both.
Or either, or
Can't use the Taylor Swift memory.
Yeah.
You got to choose something different.
That's not recent.
I won't age. I'm not gonna tell. Yeah, I won't say that.
Or maybe like what's a highlight of the 2023 or something? You know?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because it's just on my mind. Like, a highlight is all of the remodel that you can't see behind me, but all of the remodel and projects I'm about to do, and my sweet new office that I'm about to build out.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, it's on my mind because home stuff just lives forever in your headspace. But I'm actually thinking my office is going to be a combo of like a little like meditation side and an office.
There you go.
Got my erg bike with like an erg desk, so I'm excited to build it out. Yeah.
Oh, you definitely got to share that in the Coach Slack channel when it's all done. Then sure.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Maria, it's awesome to have you on the podcast today and get to know you a little bit better. Thank you so much for sharing time. Like, we know you're busy. Obviously, you got the kids, you got the remodel, you just moved, and you have all your clients that are probably waiting to hear from you. So really, really appreciate you taking some time today to talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun to chat with you guys.
Yeah. And just one last little note of business here. So if you're interested in signing up for our WAG coaching services, go ahead and use code MARIA, MARIA,
Bingo.
at checkout at workingagainstgravity.com/join. And that code will take $50 off your first month membership of either of our tiered packages, our Essential or our Nutrition Coaching Plus program, which includes video coaching and a free customized meal plan to your macros from your coach. So, check that out. Use code MARIA. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing, what you think, and how we can do better. We're always interested in that, and what it is you want to hear, and maybe who you want to see on the podcast too. So if you've got guest ideas, someone we can get on, we would love to pursue that.
Yeah. Cool, gang. Well, thanks again for listening, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye, guys.